Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to my presentation on crisis management and contingency planning. This is a critical topic in project management, especially in today's unpredictable world where risk and uncertainties are always present. In this presentation, I'll explain how these two strategies, crisis management and contingency planning, helps organization to prepare for or to respond to any unexpected challenges. By the end, you will see how these practices ensure project success and resilience. My name is Haider Ali Khan, and I'm excited to share my insight on this topic with you guys. Let's get started. Uh, Introduction. Now, let me introduce the topic. Crisis management and contingency planning are two key concepts in project management. Crisis management is about how we respond to unexpected problems like delays or emergencies or to keep a project on track. On the other hand, contingency planning is all about preparing for risk in advance. So we are ready if something goes wrong. Both are important because they help ensure that project can overcome challenges and succeed even when things don't go as planned. Um, uh, in this presentation, I'll show how these strategies matter and how they work together to make a project more resilient. Let's move on the objectives of this presentation. In this slide, I'll explain the main objectives of this presentation. First, we will understand how crisis management helps project handle unexpected problems and disruptions. Next, we will look at how contingency planning prepare us to advance to deal with risk. I'll share also real-world example to show how these strategies work in practice. Then we will explore how crisis management and contingency planning can be combined to create a stronger and more resilient approach to manage projects. Finally, I'll share some best practices and tools that organizations can use to improve their risk management strategies. So let's move on the key points. Let's talk about the crisis management. Crisis management is about how we respond to a sudden, unexpected problems that can disrupt a project. It is reactive strategies. It is a I would say reactive strategy, meaning we can take action after a crisis happen. The main goal is to minimize the damage and to keep the project moving forward. Crisis management is very important because it protects the project's resources, timeline, and reputation. A great example is NASA Apollo 13 mission. When an oxygen tank exploded during the mission, the team used crisis management to solve the problem and safely bring the astronauts back to Earth. This shows how effective crisis management can make difference between failure and success. Now, let's move to the contingency planning, which focuses on preparing for risk in advance. Okay. Now let's talk about contingency planning. Contingency planning is proactive strategy that helps us to prepare for risks before they happen. It's about thinking ahead or creating a backup plan to ensure the project can continue even if something unexpected occur. The process includes several steps. First, identifying the risk, then assessing how likely they are going to happen and their potential impact. After that, we develop strategies to develop these risks, allocate the resources which we need, and test the plans to make sure they work. Example could be the Amazon. A good example is Amazon during the holiday season. They prepare for potential delivery delays by hiring extra workers and creating alternative delivery routes. This ensures smooth operations even during their busiest time. Contingency planning gives us confidence and control to handle challenges effectively. Okay. Next, we will look at how contingency planning and crisis management work together. Okay. Now let's see how crisis management and contingency planning work together while they both are different. They complement each other very well. Contingency planning is proactive. It helps us prepare for risk in advance by creating plans to reduce their impact. On the other hand, crisis management is reactive. It focuses on how to respond, recover when unexpected problems happen. Together, they create a strong framework for handling risk and challenges in project. For example, Toyota 2011 earthquake in Japan. For example, Toyota combined these two strategies during 2011 earthquake in Japan. Their contingency plan include backup supplies and which minimized delays, while their crisis management team quickly responded to immediate disruptions. By integrating these two approach, organization can handle risk better, and they can save resources and keep their projects on track. Okay, next thing is now let's explore some common challenges and best practices for this integration. Let's talk about challenges of managing risk and integrating crisis management with uh, contingency planning. One big challenge is uncertainty. It's hard to predict when and how a crisis will happen. Another problem could be communication breakdowns, which can make it harder for teams to respond quickly during a crisis. Limited resources like budget or manpower can also restrict how these organizations handle risk. Decision making under pressure is another challenge because people often feel stressed during emergencies, which can lead to probably lead to mistakes. Despite these challenges, uh, there are always some methods or ways to overcome them. For example, organizations can use scenario planning to prepare for uncertainty, train teams for better communication, and allocate emergency budget for better resource management. With these solutions, challenges can be addressed more effectively. Okay. Now, next is uh, now we will look at the best practices to improve these strategies. Now let's talk about the best practices for integrating crisis management and contingency planning. First, first and foremost, it's important to conduct a detailed risk assessment to identify possible threats and their impact. Using tools like heat maps can help prioritize these risks effectively. Secondly, teams should collaborate across departments to ensure everyone is prepared and aligned when a crisis occurs. Third, organizations should run scenario simulation and crisis drill regularly. This helps identifying gaps and improving readiness. Another best practice is to use technology like predictive analytics or project management software to monitor risk or and automate responses. Training and educating teams are also critical so they know what to do during a crisis. For example, JP Morgan conducts a regular financial stress test to prepare for economic downturns. By following these practices, organization can handle risk more effectively and keep their projects on track. Okay, next, we will summarize things we have learned because there is a conclusion part. To wrap up, crisis management and contingency planning are essential for successful project management. Crisis management focuses on responding to unexpected problems, while contingency planning help us to prepare for risk in advance. Together, they create a strong framework to handle challenges, minimize disruptions, and ensure project success. We have seen examples like NASA Apollo mission. Amazon logistics strategies and Toyota response during the Japan earthquake in 2011. In 2011, uh, these examples shows how these strategies work in real life. By using best practices like risk assessment, team collaboration, and technology, organization can manage risk effectively and thrive even in uncertain situation. Um, Thank you for listening the presentation. I hope this presentation has given you useful insight into managing risk into projects. Thank you so much.